This video is sponsored by Sennheiser, and that's why it sounds so good. Today we're spending some time on the grounds of Hatley Castle. We've got some beautiful fall colors coming in, so I'm really excited to see what we can get in terms of footage and photos and all that kind of stuff. I've also got the 70-200 f2.8 from Sigma. They were nice enough to lend that to me so I could try it out, compare it to my experience with my 70-200 G Master version 2, which is one of my favorite lenses of all time. And that kind of got me thinking, I've been using a 70-200 as kind of my default lens lately. It's the one that I put on my camera when I don't know what I want to shoot. It goes on there over a 24-70, over a 16-35. That kind of felt a little bit weird when I was thinking about it, so I kind of broke it down into 3 different ideas that I think are the reasons why I've been doing that a lot lately. And I thought it might be fun to kind of break that down for you, talk about it a little bit, and maybe inspire you to try the same thing yourself and kind of go to your 70-200 a little bit more often. So, secure the cup, let's talk about it. Man, the gardens out here are absolutely stunning. It's so weird and so amazing to see so much of this like fall orange and yellow foliage, and yet the flowers here are still like so vibrant and so colorful and so in bloom somehow. Crazy cool contrast. Okay, let's talk about the 70-200 focal length here. Like I said, lately I've been kind of defaulting to that focal length and choosing it over a 16-35 or a 24-70, which were kind of my old defaults, for a couple of reasons. But the first one I'm gonna call timing. So I'm kind of an opportunistic photographer and videographer. I put myself out into situations not 100% knowing what I'm going to find when I get there. For example, if I'm going on a hike, I know there's probably some kind of a vista or some kind of a beautiful view, probably and usually at the end of the hike. While I'm on that hike, I'm just kind of taking in whatever's happening around me, those kind of fleeting moments, things like wildlife going by or things where the light just hits just in the right way, just at the right time. I find that a 70-200 gives me a much better chance at getting those things, whereas the kinds of shots that I need a wider lens for typically are the kinds of shots that can wait a couple of seconds. Maybe the light is coming and going nicely, but it'll wait for the time when I can get my backpack off, set up a tripod, all of those kinds of things that you need to do for those types of shots. Whereas if you are walking around and you see a squirrel or a goose or a eagle or something like that, those kinds of moments aren't going to wait for you, and those happen to be the same kind of moments that you need a telephoto lens for. Now, there is kind of a flip side to this where I have missed shots because I had a telephoto lens on there and I was too close to the subject that was coming or going, but I would say that there have been way more times when I've missed the shot because I didn't have a long enough lens on there than the other way around. So based on my experience, having a 70-200 on my camera, ready to go at a moment's notice, has just yielded better results and less missed opportunities than the other options.
Hey, I don't think this could be a better example of what I was talking about. I'm trying to get a shot of this kind of light coming in this archway, and there's a little hummingbird right beside it.
Real quick before we talk about the next point, this is the Profile wireless system from Sennheiser, and it is so cool. It looks like I'm just like holding a microphone here, but there's actually 2 microphones in the end of this. I've just got the little foam windscreen over the end, and they've also got little furry windscreens on the top of them too. And if I want to get them out, all I have to do is press a button. And now I've got a little wireless transmitter / microphone. I've still got that other microphone in there, and this is actually the charging case for it too, so it's currently charging. They've got built-in microphones. You can also plug in an external lav with a locking capability on there, and they've got internal recording capability that can last you for hours and hours. The thing that really stands out for me though is the way that they've put the Profile wireless system into this self-contained unit. The receiver clicks into the other side of the unit. It has a big, beautiful, bright touchscreen that you can use to control both the receiver and the transmitters, turning on and off low cut, starting and stopping recording, all of those kinds of things. They've put 2 convenient little spots for the magnets that you can use if you don't want to use the clips on the transmitters. And then there's a little opening right here where you can get to the cold shoe adapter or to the USB-C or Lightning adapter, so you can use these with your mobile devices too. This package is just so awesome. It makes everything so convenient. If you're in the market for a new wireless system, this is definitely one worth checking out. I'm going to leave a link down in the description. Thank you so much to Sennheiser for sponsoring this video. The next reason that I find myself using a 70-200 over the other options is kind of a quantity thing. What I mean by that is that for every big wide shot that I might get, let's say of a castle or some gardens or something like that, there are probably 15 to 20 little detail shots that a telephoto lens will get me within that same scope. So either after or sometimes before I get my kind of big hero shot, I'll try and look around and see, okay, what are the little pieces that can help tell the rest of this story? The things that you wouldn't be able to see if you only showed someone the wide version of that shot. So with the example of the castle here, obviously we've got the grounds with the flowers and the different plants and the fall foliage, and we've got all of the different textures on the walls and the moss and the shrubbery and the windows and the doors and all the detailing and all of those kinds of things that you can kind of see in the wide shot, but you don't really get the feeling of what they actually seem like because you're too busy taking in the full picture as, like I said, that kind of big hero shot. So I find that every time I go to a location where I've got one of those big hero shots, I try to remember to also take out my 70-200 or some kind of a telephoto lens so that I can get all of those details and help tell the full story of what that scene felt and looked like in that moment. It really gives me the chance to get a lot more out of one scene than just that single shot. Even if that ends up being the quote-unquote most important shot of them, it just gives me a lot more. And just as a fun little bonus, this hero shot that I've been talking about, the big wide one, is actually taken on the 70-200 in 28 different pieces and then combined as a panorama shot inside Lightroom. Now, the third reason that I've been using a 70-200 and keeping it on my camera a lot more lately just comes down to the fact that it makes me think differently about my photography and videography. So like I mentioned in the previous point, if I'm sitting there trying to capture that big wide shot, as soon as I put the 70-200 on, I have to start thinking differently about my compositions. I have to start thinking differently about my storytelling, all of those kinds of things, and it just feels exciting. If you're anything like me, you're kind of used to shooting in either a 16-35 or a 24-70. So maybe this is just because I'm coming from being used to shooting wider and all of a sudden using telephoto a lot more lately, but it's got me excited. It's got the creative juices flowing, and it's just a new kind of way of looking at things. And the other kind of side of this whole thing is the fact that 70-200 is more compressed and not quite like the human eye. We typically hear people talk about kind of 40-50 millimeters being the same kind of compression and the same kind of distance feeling as the human eye. And I like when I'm using lenses that don't feel like that because it makes it feel more larger than life or more creative or something a little bit different than the way that we would actually see it in the world. It makes it feel more unique to me. Now, I want to be really clear here that I am by no means saying that I ever go out with just a 70-200 on me. It's always part of a kit, so I have to have my bases covered. I'm an over-preparer. I always probably carry more camera gear than I need to, but the 70-200 is just the one that I've found myself keeping on the camera as opposed to in the bag ready to go in that way. I've just been finding that my experience has been really great lately, having that 70-200 on the camera, while the other ones, the 16-35 and the 24-70 and any primes I want to bring, are in the bag, kind of on standby or on deck, if you will. So what is the takeaway from all this? I guess I'm trying to encourage you to maybe use your 70-200 or your telephoto zoom lens a little bit more, leave it on your camera and see what happens. See if you get inspired the same way that I've been inspired lately. See if you have the same outcome that I've been having lately, where I've just been getting a lot more out of my photo walks and out of my videography and out of all the times that I have my camera on me. As always, I want to hear from you. So leave a comment down below and let me know, are you already using your 70-200 this much? Let me know your thoughts on 70-200 as a focal length, as a zoom lens, and if it's something that you might consider using a little bit more. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Sennheiser for sponsoring this video, and I'll see you next time.